Are you getting sound from your computer?
That,
Are you getting sound from your computer?
that's
Okay. Because it's time to do a sound check. Make sure we're good here.
sound is good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, then let's squish a logo. Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and we are here today to make a bracelet. I've never done this pattern before, to be truthful with you guys. It should be pretty cool. Let me pull up my webpage. There it is. So if you go over to the tutorial section, this is one of the newest ones that has come out. I have a whole video showing you how I took this pattern here from friendshipbracelets.net and I came up with two patterns. So here's one of them, and you can see that this part of like where it kind of makes like an X shape is made into the center of the bracelet. So you get like these two great big areas that are really interesting looking. And then I did a different one where I made that interesting kind of bubble shape the center. So this is the one that I want to work on here today because I think it's pretty cool. And again, I've never made this one before, so I will probably be looking at the pattern a lot. I have downloaded. Oh, come on! Every time I end up clicking on this thing, I end up shifting it to something else. So I downloaded the image, and this allows me to be able to zoom in. So I'm going to be looking at this a lot. So yeah. But before we get into all that, I want to click on this. Got to remind you guys, we have the secret word game is back, and all you have to do is chat to win. If you say the secret word that we have chosen in the chat, it will pop up, the robot will pop up and tell you that you have won. Which, why is the robot not here yet? That's weird. Refreshing. Hang on, give me a second here. I'm not sure why this is. So the 8-ball thing is on all that. Why is it not working? That's really weird, guys. I have no idea what's going on. Alright. So. And here we have Mandy is with us. So, there she is. Alright, so let me put this bracelet together. I zoom myself in so I can see what the colors thing is. It's pretty straightforward. It starts red, orange, yellow, green, but then purple and blue get swapped around. Just to mind you, I could have changed the pattern and put them all in the right kind of order, but I think it does actually solve a potential problem with the way that it zigzags, so it's just going to be easier this way. So red, orange, yellow. Mind you, just notice I just take the first one, go over the whole group. The second one goes over what's left. The third one, etc. It's a pretty easy way of doing this. I mean, it really makes the starts come out a whole lot nicer. I know I know I've talked about that many times, but honestly, I'm still seeing people out there who aren't doing this yet, and I don't know why they wouldn't. It really does make it look nicer. So as always, Mandy was nice and kumied up the loop on this bracelet, so I can't take credit for that. I can take credit for making her my wife, though. So, yeah. Green and purple. All right. Mind you, this is just a 12-strand bracelet, so this is really on the easier size-wise of doing things. I say that, but you're going to see me struggle with the beginning of this because the beginning just starts out with one single red knot and then goes into the orange coming down, and just that's not my preferred way of starting a bracelet, but it's how the pattern works.
And bot finally showed up.
Hey, the bot made it. Holy crap. That's very weird. Alright. So there we have started just with one singular knot. You can see the whole top part wants to shift around and stuff. It's so weird when you start this way. But then in comes the orange. So anyways, this video that I created for everybody's enjoyment, I think really highlights when you find a pattern that you like, such as this one. There's a variety of things that you can do with it, and if you want it to be symmetrical, that's going to require a little bit of planning. And so if you can plan well enough with my graph paper, then you can end up with something pretty outstanding, I think. Well, we'll see. Proof in the pudding will be when this thing's finished. If this turns out really cool, then yeah. Alright, so now the yellow comes down and does a left-right knot. Or, no, sorry, right then left knot, leaving the orange one out. And then the other side will do the same. Now this is just a variation on an arrowhead design, basically. The thing is, though, the way it does it is just not my favorite way of doing it. It's a different way of doing an arrowhead than I'm accustomed to. So I'm kind of stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit, trying something different. That's cool. It really is a small world in the bracelet community, honestly. I just found out over on Reddit that people actually know who I am. They're like, oh, okay. Kind of got some funny responses. Somebody was talking about a bracelet that was, I think, 30-odd strings wide. And they're like, have you seen what AWOL does? Like, okay, I guess you know who I am. Fair enough. I kind of concentrate a little bit more on the right side here, but that's gonna make it easier so we can bring the yellow all the way down. So it's interesting. The green comes down and then back, goes off the purple, and comes back. So a lot of zigzagging going on. So if you're not comfortable with the third and the fourth knot when it comes to making bracelets, this will not be a pattern that you will enjoy. If, however, you can do right lefts and the left rights and can still manage to keep your tension, then maybe you'll really enjoy this. It's funny to me, like when I look at the pattern and stuff, right, it looks like it's going to be this really big, massive project. And then when I actually start putting in the knots, it's like, no, it's just this little thing. It's such a cute size. I like this size because it's not too small for a guy to wear, and it's not too big for a girl to wear. Because typically, like, guys will like a bigger bracelet than the ladies, but this is like that really nice Goldilocks zone where pretty much looks good on either, and I like that. See, Rara, I don't have patience. That's the whole thing. Like, I get through those big ones on pure stubbornness, and the I just want to get them done. I just want them to be over with, and that energy just pushes me to get them done. It's weird because I don't think I have patience. I do have the occasional superpower of hyper focus that comes from ADHD. That kind of sometimes accounts for some, like occasionally I'll just have a marathon where I forget about eating, I forget about everything, I just dive into the knots, and then I suddenly realize, after like a number of hours, I'm like, oh, I need to use the toilet. I need to get something to eat. I need to get some fluids in me. Oh God, what have I done? So, yeah, it's not patience. It's a mental disorder, really. But it's all good. We all use whatever strengths we have to do what we do. Yeah, there are days where like I scold myself because, oh, yesterday you did, this much work, why can't you do that again today? So yeah, there is that. That totally is it. So just to show you guys, this is okay. Have my mouse on the right thing. So this is what I'm working with over here. It's so weird. My mouse, if I use the wheel, it zooms. So that's what I'm watching over here. So I basically got to this little where the green is coming in. So let's see. Purple goes, okay. I'm like getting ahead of myself, but alright, so the purple just comes in for a single knot before bouncing back. So weird. So it turns out this isn't that difficult. There is a lot of zigzags. But it's not as hard as I had kind of feared. Like I said, I don't typically do this type of arrowhead. It's not my go-to one. The one that I tend to do comes down 5, comes back 3, and then goes down 5. So my new craft said she might be here for the first part, but she's really super tired, so it's possible that maybe she didn't even make it this far. I'm wondering where Phil is. He was here last week complaining about you guys not being here. Now you're here and he's not. So in other not related news, I've been trying to get in shape by just taking at least one day a week and going out for a walk. But for some strange reason on Wednesday when I went out for a walk, I started out a long ways from home, basically the opposite end of the island. And somewhere along the ways I was like, I'll just walk for a while, and then if I get too tired, I'll take a bus the rest of the way because I can do that. And then ended up walking all the way home. So I walked about 25 kilometers in one day. Almost 32,000 steps. It was like 31.8 or 31.9, something like that by the time I went to bed. So yeah, I've spent the last couple days recuperating. Today I'm back to normal, but I took a little while to get there. No, they changed the whole when it happens. It's not the last Saturday or whatever. I don't remember what it used to be, but I know they changed it because there was a while where I was getting confused by all of that. So yeah, weirdness. So the interesting thing about this pattern is about the time we get kind of used to the way this little arrow thing is coming down, it's gonna flip and go over the other direction. So yeah. We're approaching that quickly. So I don't know about you guys. I have this new kind of sport, I guess, that I've been playing, and that is on Spotify. Instead of looking for a playlist or telling it, certain things, like if you go with a playlist, it'll last for about 2 hours and then it just stops. But if you just pick a random song and give it to it, it will give you a whole day's worth of music based on that song. If you pick a good one, like I tried some 90s alternative stuff. If you pick a good one, it will give you a whole day of fun music that you can sing along to. Pick the wrong one, and it'll send you out into some weird obscurity where you're skipping, song after song because it's not as fun. So that's, I don't know, I find it really amusing that trying to find just the right song to start with. I tried putting in that one powerhouse one from the Four Non Blondes, and I think Spotify thought I wanted like powerful women singers, and it kind of went with that for a little while. It was okay, but yeah, like it's funny because you never kind of know what you're gonna get. Yeah, yeah. So, Rara, if you can imagine, when I go into hyperfocus mode, I can literally end up sitting in this chair for 6 or 8 hours of just doing the knots. When I suddenly realize that like how much time has passed, when I go to get up, I am sore, my neck hurts, my legs hurt, everything is just wrecked. Mind you, I have a whole lot done, and I'm like, woohoo! But my body suffers from it greatly. So yeah, ADHD, man. It's like a powerful drug. It wipes you out. Okay, so here's where the purple is gonna kind of flip over to the other side. I think I'm not gonna concentrate on just one side. I'm gonna get both of them down here first. Snacking is definitely essential. Yeah, see, the thing is when I get into the hyper focus mode, I don't want to be dragged out of it, right? So I end up kind of excited by the whole zoning into it so hard. It's yeah, it's probably not healthy. I probably shouldn't. Like whenever I think about it, like, that's not good. Doesn't sound right. So sometime after this video is done, my bracelet will go up onto my website, akaawol.com, where I will sell it. And what I've been doing here is the bracelets that I've been making during the live streams, I've been putting them up for sale at a much cheaper price. I just figure maybe somebody would want to have something that they like saw being made, or that has a video attached to it that'll be there indefinitely. So yeah, there's that if you're into that kind of collector-y kind of thing. It will be available. And if we end up with this bracelet done quickly, which it might, it seems to be going along pretty quick. If we get done quickly, pillow number 3 has some blue strings to be added to it, so we'll see how that goes. I'm kind of sad. My guppy here in the office is not well. Poor little guy. I have a feeling I'm going to have to replace him. He's here for the purpose of keeping mosquitoes out of the water because I have a tank with shrimp. So he's not doing so good. Yeah, it's coming along. I've almost got all of the blue strings added. So the blue and the yellow are the strings that are used the least. Once all the blue strings are on, that means there are only 4 colors. No. Yeah, 4 colors that will at some point need to be replaced, but not immediately. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, and I don't think it helps that he's in there by himself, but it's not a very big tank, so it's not like there's a need for 2 guppies in there. He's just Mozzie Patrol. Yeah, he's sort of down at the bottom of the tank now, sort of. Yeah, I cleaned the water, I did a bunch of stuff, tried to help him out, but no. So if you haven't figured it out, the toll pattern is turning itself around, and the point at the middle of it is right here at the last of that purple, where the purple came together. So. Yeah, I've never done this pattern, so I kind of looking at it like, a lot of zigzags, a lot of whatever, but no, it's moving along pretty good. Yeah, so I don't think I've had a whole lot of hyper focus here lately, and I think part of it has just been, I don't know, my mind has been like, if I just get curious, that's it. I have to go stop and find out what the thing was. Like I hear a song and I'm like, wait, who sang that? And then I have to go look it up. I've tried a few things. I've tried listening to podcasts and stuff, but even then, somebody mentions a thing or a place or whatever, and it's like, I need to know more. I'm not good with letting that stuff go by. Alright, this goes all the way to the orange. At first I wasn't going to do this in the rainbow colors, you know, but I was kind of, as I was pulling out colors to look at, you know, like, it really is a perfect kind of pattern for this sort of thing. Just the way that it's going to cycle through all the colors and really kind of makes it a little bit exciting, I think. Because to me, rainbow is essentially a fade that just goes through all the colors. It just cycles all the way through. Like a regular fade, if you just choose like blue fades or whatever, you have a light and a dark end that come together. And a rainbow is a fade where it's continuous. It goes through the whole circle again and again. So yeah, it's perfect for this sort of thing. Oh, I saw a good one today. I saw, mind you, they're kind of new to it, or they're getting back into it after having not done it for a long time. But somebody was using an actual physical clipboard, but they were using tape with it. And it was just like, but you have a clipboard. The clipboard will hold your bracelet. Why are you using tape? I didn't understand. As you can see, I tend to lean towards these binder clips. Wait, don't really have a spare one. These ones are kind of just a fun decorative version, but they seem to hold pretty well. That's what I'm actually using to hold this background board up with right now. So if I can hold that in place, you can hold your bracelet. Right. Not only does it constantly come up unstuck, but it's going to leave some sticky residues on your string, which that can't be good. That's no. Yeah. Yeah, if it's one thing I want people to take away is if the crazy guy who makes ridiculous sized things uses clips, then maybe clips are a good idea. I mean, it's a pretty simple takeaway, but I mean, I'll give you an example of where I use that same kind of logic elsewhere in my life. I like to play darts, and darts come in two different sizes. There's a very skinny one, and there's a fatter one. The fatter one is easier when you're starting out for a beginner than the skinny one. However, if you're going to continue playing and you want to get good, the skinny ones are the ones you want because you can get more of them in the bullseye at the same time. So if you're going to practice, you might as well practice with what the pros are using, because there is an added advantage to doing it the way the pros do it. You know, so I mean, yeah. What's what's the word that DMC Plus does to their thread to get rid of all the little?
Mercerize.
What is it?
Mercerize.
Yeah, I should mercerize my bags and stuff to make sure all the hairs are gone. Oh, speaking of older bags, so I'm kind of disappointed. Um, One of the things that Patreon has decided they're no longer going to do is the reward system for getting to certain, goals, like how many people follow you. So that's going to be gone outside of the end of, I think it's the end of this month or something. So that's going away, which means that my super large bucket bag, which was supposed to be like out when I hit 100 or whatever followers, is no longer a prize for that. I don't know. I guess that means that you would never be able to be Hollis certified, so. So let's take a look at this here real quick. So yeah, you can see how that purple comes right to that one spot. That's pretty cool. The colors so far are looking great. So it'll be a red center down here, so we just have to cycle through more colors. So this is starting to move along like a little bit better that now that I'm kind of settling into the pattern itself. And that's kind of part of the thing with the pattern too, right? Is you have to find a comfortable rhythm that allows you to do it and, not go past certain points where you end up having to undo things or whatever. Just getting used to the pattern overall. Sadly, just as soon as it starts to get one way, it's gonna get to where it goes back the other way again. So yeah. So if you guys haven't done it already, over on Discord, you can share what kind of projects you're working on. I've already seen what Rainbow Haze Shop has put together so far, but there's a place for works that are in progress, or WIP, as well as completed things. So you can share over there, and that way it gives us stuff to talk about. And yeah, it's kind of fun. And that goes for everybody who's tuning into this later than the live stream, because time zones and, you know, that's a thing. You guys can join me over on Discord. On weekdays when I'm around, I tend to open up the chat channel, and if you happen to catch me during the hours that I'm actually here sitting at the office making stuff, you can actually chat with me in person, and that's a thing. Cool. Uh, okay, so here's the part where it's going to get, I have to look at the pattern again, because we're down to where the red is introduced. So. Hey, Jen made it. Hey. Yeah, I was originally from the suburbs of Detroit, though I did live in Detroit for a little while. Actually, you're within the first hour, so it's only been like 48 minutes of tying knots so far, so you're not terribly late, John. So I guess since a couple people have joined now, we'll just do this again really quick. Secret word game is still going on, guys. All you have to do is chat and say the secret word, and you win these 2 bracelets. One was made by me, and the other one was made by Minute Craft here in Singapore. So that's available. And we are working on one of the 2 patterns I created from pattern number 17002. So yeah. And if you're looking for the patterns that I made, that's over on my website, akaawol.com. That's akaawol.com. I have no idea where Gambia is. My American education does definitely fail me when it comes to geography.
Zambia's in West Africa, I think.
Oh, cool. Well, warm, but interesting. Wow, that's way cool. What's the one we were talking about going to in Africa? Is that Marrakesh?
Yes, that's north. Morocco.
North and sort of central, right? So you may have noticed I just slid the bracelet higher in the clip. The further away from the clip you are, the harder it is to keep the consistency the same. So I kind of usually try to keep it so that way you guys can see what I'm doing, but it was getting a little too far away, so I'll show you in just a moment. But I want to get this area done. So again, just as we got used to going one direction, it now flips again. But that's not unlike the original pattern. The original pattern went back and forth just like what I'm creating. All I've done was made sure that I had the center right where I want it. So this red diamond is the exact middle of the bracelet. So essentially all I have left to do is to recreate all this going this way, and I will have the whole bracelet. And yeah, it's kind of fun looking. I kind of like it. And this is one of those patterns where most all of the strings are being used evenly. So you don't necessarily have to cut the strings very long in order to pull this one off. Wow. 12-hour shifts are long days, man. Yeah, when you put it that way, 2 to 2 sounds easy. Sorry if I'm a little bit quiet here, guys. This is taking a bit of concentration on my part. I think part of my brain just got really zoned in on my work. Part of that ADHD thing. I remember showing you guys that diamond was center, and I'm suddenly this far down. So one of those things where suddenly the hyper focus kicks in, and I'm suddenly super at doing these things. Yeah, I'm surprised Phil's not here instigating trouble and causing general mayhem. Hey, Isabel. Cool. Well, glad you made it. How is your bag project started that you started? I saw the many loops prepared. Oh, I can't wait to see the picture. That's see, I like that, and that happens when you get the pattern starts to work in your head and everything comes together. I have to kudos. It is very brave to take on a project with as many loops as you have going there. That's absolutely, hats off to you. That's especially if that's like not your normal go-to kind of thing. So yeah.
Not
Like for me, I don't think there's any bravery in me doing big projects anymore. Obviously, it's sort of my thing, but yeah. I had to remind somebody today that yeah, I do make small projects too. It reminds me, I saw a comment on a Reddit post where, again, I think the bracelet was like 30 some odd strings, and somebody had commented on it, that's got to be the biggest thing I've ever seen. And somebody else told him to go look up me. I almost died laughing. Yeah, I've become like the definition of crazy sized projects. So we're almost at the junction of where the two purples will come together. And that means the bracelet flips around the other direction once again. So okay, so picturing the on the bus thing. Okay, I'm sorry, it took me a second to catch up on the where we were. This is no lie. The second bag I made was the bag for my wife, which is the oranges and blues, which right. Hang on. I can link portfolio. So that bag there, I carried it around in, what did we use, honey? What did we carry that in? Because I had a clipboard and I took it out on the bike rides with us and would take breaks at various, like, find a nice place where there was a good breeze. Do we just use like a plastic shopping bag? I can't remember what I used.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like just like a regular plain old plastic shopping bag. Put it in the panniers of the bicycle, and then land in various places that, down by the water where it's nice and cool or whatever, and make that thing, which that thing is a quite a monstrous number of strings. I don't remember how many though. It's big. But yeah, totally is a thing. You can totally take it with you. You just have to be prepared. And it's about good string management, how you put it in the bag and stuff, how you bring it out to keeps your strings from getting all tangled up. But yeah, no, totally works. Totally a thing. And yeah, occasionally you get people looking at you like, are you insane? What the hell is he doing? And culturally over here, less people are willing to, like, people will stop and look, but if you go, hey, you want to see what I'm making, they're like, run away. So yeah, it's in America, working on even just regular bracelets, I'd have people come over and start talking with me and want to see what I was doing and want to know all about the whole history of it and everything. But here, there's some kind of taboo about talking to strangers. I don't know. Like people actually listen to their mom or something. Crazy. I think it's 24 strings times 12 loops. That seems right. Yeah, scary ball man. Run away! Yeah. As in visitating people, or as in accidentally maiming yourself?
You just create a new word.
I don't know. My brain is all kinds of mushed out right now. Why? What did I say? I don't even know what I said.
Hesitating.
Ah. That's kind of relatable to me. I was in the hospital um, after a suicide attempt, and somehow or another had somebody pass me some string, and I started making a really big bracelet. And the people there were like, "Hey, we saw a guy who had something similar to what you're making," and then they described it to me, and it was this really big, huge bracelet that um, was the first time I took my regular like signature pattern and made it so that way it went through all the colors of the rainbow, kind of going this direction instead of up and down. Actually, I might have my portfolio open. I might be able to show you it. So it's this one. So it's sort of similar to this. This is just 8 colors, but this one, each one of these was a different color. So it was probably like yellow, orange, red, purple, blue, green, that kind of thing, going through all of the colors. So it was actually this bracelet that they were describing to me, and I'm like, that's crazy. I Yeah, of course I know what you're talking about. I made that. And they're like, oh, this dude was in here and he had it. And I'm like, but that's really weird because the person I sold it to didn't seem to me like the kind of person who would be warded in the hospital in the psych ward. And it turns out he got it from me and gave it to this other guy as a gift. You know, try to cheer him up, try to bring him around and be less suicidal or whatever. And yeah, it just happened to be right before I ended up in the same hospital. So yeah, interesting, fun, random thing. Yeah, they can be. A lot of good people in there, a lot of confused. There was one guy who he really he really wanted to try to convince the nurses and stuff that things like eating LSD were no different than, say, eating an apple. And I'm like, dude, that's not even close. Shh. Like I was gonna break the illusion that he was trying to create. Oh my god, no. I met good people, and we were all in a bad place, and I yeah, I had some good times with it. You know, I got help that I needed. That was important. Yeah, fun may not be the best. I did have fun. I met good people. I stayed in touch with a couple of them after I had gotten out, hung out and stuff. Yeah, see, that's no good. If I guess I was fortunate. I went to a hospital that was did excel at what they're supposed to do. So and of course you can always make bracelets for the nurses. Everybody has their own stethoscope, and customizing it so that way they don't lose it is a thing. I made a bunch of money doing that. You can make a tube bracelet to fit them. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it through all it. So I don't know about time zone wise, but I do spend a lot of time over on Discord. So if you end up in a space where you need somebody to talk to, You can always check over there if I'm around. If it says I'm online, basically, you can hit me up with a comment and I'll probably respond. Some days I do take off because like I said, I'm trying to get like steps in and stuff. But yeah. Oh, that's cool. Wow, we are so close to being done with this now. It's unbelievable. Yeah, doubling the strings makes it so that way the knot is a little bit thicker and makes it so that way there's fewer knots needed to get from one end to the other end, as well as it really works out with the bags because it makes a real easy way of adding floss, which I will be showing you here shortly because it turns out this bracelet did not take me very long, and we have lots of time, so I'm going to pull out the bigger project known as pillow number 3, and I'll be adding a bunch of string there. So yeah, I'll show you some more advantages. Oh, another big thing for doubling it up, so this is only 6 colors, right? So if I did it in a single, there'd be 6 strands, there'd be no way to kumi it. But because I doubled up the string, that means there's 12 strands, which is perfect for doing a kumi and makes for the beautiful loops that I start with. So yeah. As well, I so want to help you out with that. I totally can relate to it. It just takes some muscles and some manipulating, and I'm pretty sure I did a couple videos where you can see me struggle with it a little bit. So then my brain's like, well, maybe she's just not cursing enough. Cursing helps. You know, you just start swearing at it, and before you know it, the thing's just flipped around. It's just, that's how it works, right? And there we have it, down to the single red knot. So now, just how, like when we started it, we're going to start out with just one. I'm going to wrap another string around. And then we take those 2 and we wrap a string around. And those 3. Just keep moving down until we reach the center. I'm going to make my braid. Yes, glow-in-the-dark thread does exist. It's not cheap, but it's pretty way cool. I realized it a little bit too late. If I had thought about it, I might have used it on the blue pillow, the second pillow I made, because the white was used so infrequently that I could have gotten away with it. It would cost me like an extra $30–40, but I'd have a pillow that had little dots that glowed in the dark, which would have been amazing. And no, I'm not going to remake the pillow just so I can have it. No. So I'm dying to know when you just learned of it and you're already ready to do it. I'm dying to know what kind of pattern is coming to mind that makes you think, heck yeah, I want to do that. Fair enough. Well, happy birthday in advance. So that glow-in-the-dark thread, interesting side note, if you go off to like a bar or wherever where there's black lights or the UV lights, it will light up really super bright. So if you mix like that and say white is another real easy one, like DMC has that a white, and if you can find any neon threads, you can make something that would really kind of light up amazingly under a black light. So just a thought. Let me grab some scissors. Let's take a look at this. So yeah, so essentially what I've done is I've made a bracelet where this was perfectly centered the way I would want to, and yeah, there you have it. I like how it turned out. It's fun. Give me a second here. I'm going to take a couple photos so later on Mandy can put this in the shop. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really like it. It turned out really good. Cool. Yeah. Almost sent it to the floor. That being done, I can shift the clips. I honestly didn't think I would be done in time. I wasn't quite prepared for this. Slide this down just a bit. And I need to shift the camera a bit. So you can see I'm adding these blues in here. I'm not going much further than just the blue itself and a little bit of the surrounding area because it just kind of goes along a little bit faster. So alright, so here's how we're going to add the string. I'm going to do the first half of the knot, and mind you, I don't have a whole lot of space to, the blues are really small little thing, right? So I don't have a whole lot of space. So I'm going to add both strings, the right one that goes to the right and one that goes to the left at the same time. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting these two ends together so I can find the middle. I take the middle and I line it up right there. So this is the string that's going to go off to my right. And then I get another string. And it's going to go off to the left. Yeah, so there's 288 strings in this project. It's ish big. It's 18 inches wide. Well, just short of 18, I think. The strings are a bit smaller. Otherwise it would be. Okay, so I have both of these strings on in the middle, and I'm going to complete that first knot with the two short strings. Now, I want these short strings to where I can trim them off really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie with my long string and put the short one right through the middle of it. And then I'm going to go to the next one. Now this next one is a right-left knot. So instead of putting it through the middle, I'm just going to now run it alongside of the orange and continue the knot over that. So it's running in the middle, but now it's changed directions. So now do the other side. Half the knot, throw the blue in the middle. If I wasn't changing directions, I'd just keep running it through the middle. But because this blue changes direction, I'm going to go over the top of the orange and the blue. Now, tag a little yellow knot in the center. Bring the long blues down. And so now the orange and the blue are together, right? I'm going to take this burgundy over top of that. And then I'm going to take the red over top of it again. And at this point, I can trim that blue down to a teeny tiny nub, and no matter if I put it through a washing machine or whatever, it's not going to come unraveled because it has become anchored inside of the other knot. So I can take that straight to the back. And finishing off this little red diamond area because it'll make it go a little bit quicker and faster when I come back and finish out this row. So there we go. Now the other side, I need to bring this burgundy over top of the blue and the orange. And then take the short blue and I run it through a hole in the back. And go on to the next one. So that's it. That's the big thing about double up string for the bigger projects. It just makes it easier for doing what I just did. You can add the string like that. And of course, that works on things like guitar straps or, you know, whatever big project you're trying to make. Yeah, so speaking about the Discord availability, one thing I do know for next week is I will be out on Wednesday. I'm meeting up with somebody, so I will be out for sure on Wednesday. Beyond that, I don't really have much in the way of plans, so hanging out on Discord is a chance. Heck, camping and bracelets sounds awesome. Oh, and I got a new power bank that would be perfect for that because for whatever reason it doesn't cut off every 30 seconds. So I can actually operate a small portable LED light. So I'd be able to sit by the campfire and make bracelets at night. Heck yeah. amazing. I turn the cameras on and I suddenly become so productive. I've been wanting to get this road done for days. Now it seems it's going to finish up quickly. Oh, if you guys haven't already, hit the like button just to help get Google to thinking that my content is worth sharing with other people. It would really help me out a lot. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed, I would really appreciate that. I'd like to see the subscription number get up there. Alright guys, it's midnight and I have to move the camera if I want to get those last few knots there, so I think we're going to call it an end. Before I go, I do want to thank my Patreon supporters. Oh, wait, why is the button not working? Thank my Patreon supporters for making all this possible. I do definitely try to help them out with any kind of patterns or whatever whenever asked, but just any kind of contribution to the channel does help me a lot. The cameras and all this stuff costs money, so I really appreciate it, guys. I will be back again next week. I don't know actually this time what we'll be working on, but I'll be back again next week, so I'm looking forward to that. I will I don't think there's any other kind of big announcements before this, so yeah, that's it. Yeah, I guess just don't get your strings in a bunch.